fascinating Week 14 Thursday Night Football game on tap as the suddenly red-hot Dallas Cowboys visit the reeling Detroit Lions. We will break it all down for you right here, including what to bet. Which of these two teams will we see in the playoffs? Maybe none. I don't know. And Jahmyr Gibbs props, and of course, much, much more. Welcome to the channel. Ninja here with SI's Iain MacMillan, host of the Bacon Bets podcast as well. So make sure you follow that. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. I'm Mac. Let's get into it here. If you had to bet on one of these two teams to make the playoffs right here, right now, who would you back? Current odds are Detroit at plus 120 at FanDuel or the Dallas Cowboys at plus 270.
I think if we're talking about specifically just to make the playoffs, I think I would rather bet on the Detroit Lions right now. Now, there's a different bet that I think you could potentially place for the Cowboys, and maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. But if we're just get into the playoffs, no matter what kind of seed it is, I think it's the Lions. I mean, they still have a big game against the Bears after this, which is going to be huge for their chances to kind of, because they're going to need the Bears to fall off. So that game is going to be big. They got games against the Vikings, the Steelers. Like, there is still a little bit of a window for the Detroit Lions. I actually think it might be a good time to maybe buy some stock in this Lions team moving forward. I know a lot of their underlying metrics are still good. Like, I'd be a lot more concerned about the Lions not making the playoffs if like their DVOA and EPA numbers were in the bottom half of the NFL, but they're not. They're still a top 10, top 5 team, and that game against the Bears is going to be huge to close out the year. So I would still look at the Lions if you're including a wild card spot. The Cowboys do just have the 6 wins. That tie might come back to haunt them when it comes to getting a wild card spot. I think you're going to probably have to ensure you get a wild card spot. You probably need to get to 11 wins in the NFC. I don't know if 10 wins is going to be enough. I don't think it will be.
So that's my follow-up question here, because like you've hit on here, the NFC is a gong show right now. There's 3 teams in the West that have 9 wins. The NFC North is anyone's game right now. The Bears are the top seed. Like, what's the best way that the Dallas Cowboys can find themselves in the playoffs? Is it going to be a wild card, or is it going to be a miracle NFC East win?
I think it's an NFC East win, and that's why I'm so surprised that their odds are so much longer to win the NFC East than it is just for them to make the playoffs, because I think that's by far the easier of the two paths that they have. I mean, just look at the number 7 seed in the NFC right now, so a wild card team is the San Francisco 49ers, who are 9-4. So I think it's just easier for the Cowboys to go ahead and pass the Eagles in the NFC East, the Eagles who are 8-4 right now. I believe the 49ers on bye this week. So, yeah, and that's kind of, they need one of those top teams to fall out, and kind of what team is regressing out of all the teams that are currently in a playoff spot right now in the NFC. The Eagles, they're imploding. They can't get anything going on offense, one of the most predictable offenses in the NFL. Their offensive line is banged up. Their defense just allowed the Bears to put up like 250 yards on the ground against them, and like their running backs weren't getting touched the first 6 yards downfield. So I think if I were to pick one team that's going to implode out of an NFC playoff spot, it could be the Eagles. So I think that's why the most obvious path for the Cowboys to get in the playoffs is winning the NFC East. I'm surprised that the odds are that much different. So if you're going to bet the Cowboys to make the playoffs, in my opinion, you may as well just bet them to win the NFC East at around like plus 650, which is kind of fascinating because there's that trend that's been going back all the way to 2003, 2004, where it's never a repeat winner of the NFC East, going back over 20 years now. And this season we thought, oh, the Eagles are finally going to end it. They're going to run away with this division. All of a sudden, maybe that trend continues this year.
Like, I genuinely can't believe it. I can't believe we're sitting here in week 14, ahead of week 14, and having this conversation about Philadelphia and about Dallas, who, to their credit, made really good acquisitions at the deadline. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But I keep waiting for the Niners to fall off, too. Like, they only have, like, 3 wins at home, I believe, but they're 9-win team right now. They keep punching above their weight. Like, I don't know. It's crazy right now in the conference, and especially that NFC West. But injuries, IMAC, have sort of begun to take its toll on these Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the most recent, of course, we saw on Thanksgiving. He's questionable going into week 14, but the Lions were looking to bring a dude off the sofa to help salvage this season, but obviously Frank Ragnow failed his physical. Given the state of things with this team, with this Detroit Lions team, IMAC, are the 2025 Lions absolutely cooked?
I don't think they're necessarily cooked. But I mean, that's what kind of makes this game on Thursday night so fascinating, because this game is kind of a loser goes home type of game. If they lose to the Cowboys on Thursday night, then they are absolutely cooked. But the reason why, and I briefly mentioned this earlier, is because despite all of the injuries, from a underlying metrics perspective, they're still a very good team. 4th in overall DVOA, 5th in offensive DVOA, 6th in defensive DVOA. Like, EPA numbers still very good. If their numbers had fallen off from that perspective after all these injuries, then yes, I would say they're cooked. But they're still, I know the record isn't shown. I know people who don't look at the underlying metrics or don't trust them. They're just looking at their eyes and like, this team sucks. They're losing these games. I would argue back against that a little bit. These numbers kind of tell us what happens during the games. And yes, they're finding ways to lose them, but they're still impressive from a metrics perspective. So I don't think they're cooked just quite yet, even with all these injuries. I mean, Ragnow coming back would have been huge for them. That sucks. Grade 3 hamstring, not good. That was kind of the hope of Lions fans, but still, I don't think they're cooked just quite yet. Like I said, with a loss this week, they are, but they're still very much alive.
It's weird he didn't even notice that injury until he got his physical. Like, that's a severe injury. I don't understand how he just didn't notice. But anyway, dig into these metrics, the DVOA and whatnot, a little bit for me, because Detroit defense, very good against the run, but pretty susceptible against the pass. So in comes a very good 1-2 combo. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb to go up against the secondary. But is there somebody maybe not named Pickens or not named Lamb that we could target in prop markets for this one? Or is this just a spot where these two absolutely elite wide receivers feast and comfortably eclipse their prop numbers?
I think you do just target the top 2 guys, because when we're talking about actual wide receivers, there's no real strong third option for the Cowboys. Their tight end has had a great year, Jake Ferguson, but the Lions have kind of defended tight ends actually really well. It's more wide receiver position that's eating up the Lions secondary. So you could maybe take a look at some long shots, but I think it's best not to overthink it. 2 of the best receivers in the game going up against a banged up secondary. I think you just kind of target CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. And credit to George Pickens. I've been wrong about a lot of things this football season. George Pickens might have been the thing I've been wrong about the most. I thought he was going to be disaster in Dallas for the Cowboys. I thought he's going to be the number 2 guy. He's going to hate that. His ego is going to show. He hasn't. He's stepped up and he's played fantastic in that position. So I was wrong about George Pickens. Credit to him. Almost 1,200 yards on the year already. I think you just target the top 2 guys. Maybe Kevontae Turpin. Maybe you take his longest reception over. Maybe not overall receiving yards, but those kind of longest rush and longest reception props I've been doing pretty well in this year, because he is kind of used as a deep threat, or at least a yards after catch guy for the Cowboys. 13.7 yards per catch. I don't see any numbers in front of me for longest reception just quite yet, but maybe you target him in the longest reception type of prop. But overall, if we're just talking receptions and receiving yards, I think you just stick to the top 2 guys for the Cowboys.
In a similar vein, last week, you gave us Jahmyr Gibbs over on his longest rush markets for Thanksgiving. Do you like this matchup for the same prop, which, we've seen anywhere from, 16 and a half yards, 17 and a half?
Yep.
Do you think this is a spot to bet that again this week, or is this vastly improved Dallas run defense a signal to stay away or maybe even bet the under?
Yeah, I'm still going to take a Gibbs in this spot. I know the Cowboys made some moves at the trade deadline to shore up that run defense, but also they haven't played good running teams. Their 3 teams since those trade acquisitions have been the Raiders, who are the worst running team in the NFL. Poor Ashton Genty can't even get a yard down the field before he gets touched. And then you have the Eagles, who in theory should be able to run the football, but they haven't been able to run the football all season. Saquon Barkley's having like the worst year of his career. They haven't been able to run the ball on anyone. They couldn't run the ball against the Bears this past week. And then the Chiefs, who also have not run the ball very well this season. So yeah, the run defense is certainly better. Are they all of a sudden an elite run defense? I'm not ready to say that quite yet. I need to see how they do against this Lions team and Jahmyr Gibbs. So no, I am actually still going to buy in on some Jahmyr Gibbs props this week, whether it's over longest rush, which is probably the way I'm going to go, because Gibbs is just so fast, so explosive. He feels like he gets a 20-yard run every single game. But I will invest in some type of Jahmyr Gibbs props in this game.
Folks, get Prop Professor for 50% off for the first month right now. This app drops hundreds of plus EV bets every day, gives you a real shot at finding long-term profit, and you can sort through plays across the NFL, across college football, and plenty more leagues. It's got tools for arbitrage betting. It's got a fantasy optimizer, easily the best bang for buck app on the market, and you can use the promo code OddShark50 at checkout to get 50% off for that first month. Like you said, this could very well be life or death for the 2025 Lions, and right now they are 3-point home faves as I look at FanDuel right now. Total is 53.5, one of the higher totals that we've seen so far this season. What are you looking at here? There's certainly tons of player props. There's certainly plenty of betting options for this game, but what are you looking at here, iMac? What's your best bet?
So I'm doing something this week where so first of all, let me be completely transparent. I've had the worst NFL season of my life, and it's not even close when it comes to betting. Not even close. Like, I can't have a winning week to save my life. So this week, I'm pulling the old George Costanza. I'm handicapping games, and then I'm finding the reason why I'm wrong, because I will be wrong. So I love the lines in this spot. This seems like the perfect sell high Cowboys, buy low Detroit Lions. This lines up for everything, in my opinion, points towards the Detroit Lions. So I'll take the 3 points with the Dallas Cowboys. And there are a lot of really good arguments to be made for the Cowboys. Obviously, a ton of injuries to the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown probably not playing this week. Their offensive line is banged up. Their defense has had some issues, especially in the secondary. As we've talked about, two of the best receivers in the NFL going up against a banged up line secondary. And sometimes there is just something to be said for momentum. And these two teams do have momentum going in complete opposite directions. The Lions imploding a little bit after that loss last week. The Cowboys feel like they're playing loose and free, and they're playing like they got nothing to lose. So I will take the 3 points with the Cowboys. I do think the Lions are the better team. And I am betting on the Lions to make the playoffs this week. So what would be perfect for me would be a Lions 2-point victory. Then we're all winners all around. So yeah, that's my whole strategy. I'm trying to see if I can pull the George Costanza and do opposite week. So as much as I would love to lay the points with the Lions, I've been wrong all season, week in and week out, game in and game out, night and night in. So give me the points with the Cowboys +3.